Please. Okay, very good morning to everyone, and good morning to esteemed colleagues, respected HOD ma'am, students and guests. Today it is my profound honor to introduce our distinguished guest, Ms. Anuradha Tandon, who brings with her wealth and experience and an inspiring journey that bridges our world of technology, education, and humanitarian services. So, a small introduction about our guest speaker, Ms. Tandon. So, Ms. Tandon is an alumnus of Nirma University, who has done MTech degree in control and automation engineering. Ma'am has over 12 years of teaching experience in various prestigious universities. Beyond her academic contributions, Anuradha ma'am's journey took a meaningful turn when she decided to leverage her expertise and network for noble cause. For that reason, she has joined in DATRI, a leading stem cell stem cell donor registry in 2019. She embarked on a mission driven by personal challenges and the universal need for accessible healthcare solutions. In her role as a senior associate in partnership and medical affairs, she has played an instrumental in building bridges between potential donors, those who are in dire need, and showcasing an exemplary commitment to societal welfare. Her dedication to making a difference in the lives of others, her innovative approach to education, and her relentless pursuit of excellence makes Ms. Anuradha a source of inspiration for all of us. We look forward to gaining insights from her vast experience and learning about pivotal role of stem cells in healthcare as a testament to the convergence of technology and compassion. So on behalf of Department of Medical Lab Technology, University Institute of Allied Health Sciences, Chandigarh University, I warmly welcome you to our session, ma'am. It's been a privilege to have you with us. So the session over to you, ma'am. Thank you very much for accepting our
Thank you so much, sir, for introducing me. And if you can please share the, I am not able to share the screen.
1 second, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will give rights to you, ma'am. 1 second.
Sure.
And actually, ma'am, on behalf of our HOD, I would like to greet you, ma'am. Actually, HOD ma'am is in a meeting, unable to join now.
No problem.
Yes.
So it's always good morning, students. By the time sir gives me the
Ma'am,
right.
I have given you the right, ma'am. You can share now.
Okay. So
yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Students, can anyone switch please switch on your cameras, everyone, students. I will take screenshots of attendance. 1 second. Yes.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible now.
Okay.
Ma'am, you can turn on the slide share, ma'am. Full screen of PPT, then you can share again.
All right.
Yes.
Stop share.
Stop sharing. Slide share and share the slide share screen.
Okay. First, right.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect, ma'am. Perfect.
Okay, I'm just changing this slide. If you are able to see it or not, let me know.
Yes, we can see it, ma'am.
Is next slide visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, that's great. So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Pleasure to talking to you. Sir has already said so many things about me. So, without wasting my time, I'll start with the session because we have time limitation. But anyways, you can always communicate with me whenever you want. Sir has my contact details and email ID also is there. So you can communicate with me either through email or phone, right? So this is basically the course on introduction of blood stem cells, and I'm really happy that Chandigarh University has taken the initiative, which is very much required now. So without wasting much time, let us begin with the session. So mainly today I'll be talking about these stem cells. What are stem cells? What do they do? And their importance in the medicine. And then we will be specifically talking about the blood stem cells. So I'll start with the blood cells, and then we will blood stem cells, hematopoiesis process and all. And we'll end the session with that today. So, as all of you know, cell is the basic building block of a human system. So, since you all have the biological background, you know the cells are composed of nucleus, membrane, organelles, and cytoplasms. And like each cell carry a DNA, which is a genetic information, which is they have inherited from their parent cells. And this cells then in turn form the tissues, and then tissues are like they form an organ, and then together this organ form a functional body or a human body, right? So this is the level of organization or where the cells actually exist in the body. So let us talk about stem cells. Now, as you were studying in the school, all of you were learning the same math, same English, same subjects, right? And same social studies. Then in class 10, you decide whether you want to do medical, non-medical, you want to do commerce, you want to do humanities. So you chose your area of interest there. And further, when you pass out from school, you choose the niche area. That is in non-medical, what engineering you want to do, in medical, whether we want to do become gynecologist, or you want to do MLT course or whatever, right? So as you graduate, you have studied your specific or specialization area, and then you find a job which is like related to your subject study your graduation subject. So similarly, the stem cells, they start off functionally as non-specific, and then they differentiate and grow into the cell with specific functions and the roles in the body. Or I would like to give analogy over here of a seed, right? Seed is very non-specific, or it's non-specific, and then as it grows, it forms the leaves, stems, branches, and then flower or fruit. So it differentiates, and then it forms the different parts of the tree. So this is how the stem cells, as we say, they are non-specific, and then they grow into the specific cells. So by definition, the stem cells can be defined with two characteristics. First is the differentiation, that is they have the ability to develop into many different type of cells of the body, maybe the skin cells, or maybe your uh, cells in liver cells, or maybe your blood cells. And the other characteristic is the self renewal. They can regenerate themselves many a times and contribute to the stock of the stem cells in the body. So what do they do basically? When you you get a cut, your cut gets immediately after some time, you see that the bleed your that wound stops bleeding, right? How is it possible? So when you have an injury, your blood will come out, but it will get clotted in some time. And this is, as all of you must be knowing, this is due to the platelets, or it's a type of blood cell platelets, right? So because of this platelets, your blood gets clotted and it stops bleeding. Inflammatory cells or your white blood cells then fights. If any infections are there, they fights, and they protects our body. Proliferations, the new cells are formed, and they move to the site of healing. And after some time, as you see, your that wound is went off, and your skin is normal, right? So as when remodeling happens, your skin becomes as it used to be earlier. So the proliferation, in the proliferation phase, how let us learn how the new skins and the blood cells are created. So it is because of the stem cells. So stem cells, what do they do is, as I said, they have two characteristics by which we define them. One is differentiate, they become more specific, and they self-renew. Stem cells keep multiplying themselves in the body. At the same time, they differentiate, or they become skin cells, they become blood cells, and all. So this is what the stem cells do. Other stem cells, other functions, like many of you might have their bones fractured or broken bones, like I had. And so what do the bone cells or uh, bone cells regrow themselves, and they heal our bones, right? We have a plaster, or we undergo surgery, and then we give the rest to that part of the body, and then bone cells repair that broken part of the bone. Every day we have new hair, every day we have hair fall, and we have new hair. So the hair cells help us not to go bald, right? Then heart attack in heart muscles. After heart attack, the heart muscles regenerate or the growth of the heart muscles happens again. Then intestinal lining, once if you are in, for some reason, if your intestinal lining is damaged, then the cells regenerate themselves and they repair the lining, and they do not let any harm happen to the intestine. So what are different type of stem cells? So basically embryonic cells and the adult cells, adult stem cells we call them. So first let us learn about embryonic stem cells. So they are the pluripotent cells and they can differentiate into any cell of the human body. Whereas where do we find the cells? We find the cell in the human embryo. So the benefits of or like and what the benefits of the embryo cells are? They're easy to find and isolate. Easily they can be found. They are pluripotent, that is they can form or they can like going beyond as they mature, they can be differentiated in any part of the human body. As we know, from the human embryo, the whole child gets the birth, right? So these are pluripotent cells. They are immortal. Problem is ethical concerns. Like if we want to have this embryo cells, it's really, I mean, there are so many ethical concerns are there, and the potential of a tumor formation. The other type of stem cells are adult stem cells. The cells are multipotent and can be partially or fully differentiated. That is, I'm sorry, partially differentiated is they can form some parts of the body, like our blood stem cells can form blood every day. Our skin cells, our skin gets renewed over every after a few days. We have our hair, we get new hair every day. But not all the adult stem cells can be grown into any human body part. They are important for wound healing, manipulating the cell populations, and the renewing the cells. Renewing as if our skin cells gets regenerated, we get new hair and all. So stem cell, this is a specific niche in the body where the adult stem cells live and grow, and the adult stem cells are isolated from these regions, can be isolated from the regions in the body where they are found for the research and the treatment purpose. So one of the treatment that you are going to learn in the course as we go ahead, that will be blood stem cell transplant. So the pros of the adult stem cells: ethically sound method for the stem cell use for research and treatment purpose, and they are multipotent. Like many of the cells can be regenerated, and many of the human organs can be regenerated that way. And the problem is difficult to locate or isolate. Some of the adult stem cells we have been able to locate, and we are able to now isolate, and therefore we are able to treat so many diseases. So the types of adult stem cells are neural cells. They become neurons and neural support cells. Then hematopoietic cells. They are the various blood cells, and they are found in the bone marrow and the umbilical cord blood. And so as far as the isolation is concerned, isolation of the hematopoietic cells is now possible, feasible, and it is easily being done. So we are able to isolate the blood stem cells from the bone marrow and ethical cord cells. As you know, these days there are many cord blood cell banks are there which store and preserve the blood cell, umbilical blood, cord blood. Then epithelial, they become the skin, intestinal gland, and vessel lining, and they are found in the niches of the skin and hair. So these are like little difficult to isolate. Then mesenchymal, this differentiate cells. This cells differentiate into the cartilage, fat, muscles, etc., and they are also found in bone marrow adipose tissue, and the umbilical cord blood. Now, sorry, I'm going little faster, thinking that you know this basics. This is just brushing up the knowledge, but still, if you have any doubts, you can stop me in between. So, induced pluripotent stem cells, or IPS, they are produced through transdifferentiation or reprogramming of the somatic cells. Can anyone tell me what is somatic cells? Hello? Somatic cells? They are the human cells other than the germ cells. Are you able to listen to me? Hello?
Ma'am, somatic
Yes,
cell are
ma'am.
those non-productive cell.
Right. So they are the other than the germ cells, or what we call, and we can reprogram the cells. So where the cells are found, they are either taken from the skin or the blood cells. And how do we reprogram them? Is the transcription factors that are introduced into the cell and that change the gene expression in the DNA. And what the cells can become, they become the pluripotent and can differentiate into any cell type. So the pros and cons of the cells, they can become pluripotent through reprogramming. They are immortal and they are easy to create. And the limitation is the teratoma formation. That is again a immature cell tumor formation is the one of the possibility. So why do we care about stem cells in medicine? So I'm sorry for this blank screen. Let us learn what do the stem cells do in the body, human body. So they basically create a new cells to maintain the functionality of cells in the tissue. For example, creating the new bone cells after a broken bone. Can anybody tell me about any other type of blood, stem cells in the body? One of the example is the bone cell. Other type of cells or stem cells in the body?
Placenta.
Heart.
Sorry, heart, correct.
Placenta.
Then placenta. Sorry,
Placenta.
placenta. Okay, what do they do? All right. So other type of stem cells.
Spinal cord.
Spinal cord, right? Then
Ma'am,
we yeah. I'm sorry. Come again.
Also epithelial cells, which you said they help build the skin tissue and cells.
Correct. Correct. Then we have the blood stem cells, which keep producing the blood cells. So these are some of the stem cells. They have the different functionalities, right? And can you think of any ways the blood stem cells can be used as therapies? Let us see. Stem cells therapies. Alzheimer's disease, as you know, in grown-up adults, when the formation of the new neurons stops, they have the difficulty in remembering the things. So for this, the neural cells can be replaced. Then diabetic cells can be replaces the insulin pancreas. They replaces the insulin pancreas cells, and that way the diabetes is cured. So many students, like whenever I conduct the sessions on blood stem cell donation, and so many people ask me, should we preserve should the umbilical cord blood cells should be preserved? I say yes, because they are pluripotent and they can be used for the treatment of many diseases. One of the diseases is diabetes. When like the child has the diabetes, they can be treated by the umbilical cord cells. The other stem cell therapy is blindness, cancer, heart attack. As I already emphasized, the heart muscles regrow after the heart attack. And then the vascular grafts. So creation of medical devices with stem cells that reduces the inflammatory responses. So these are some of the stem cell therapies. For example, let us talk about the Alzheimer's brain. So, and on the right side of the screen, you can see the Alzheimer's brain. That is, the mass is, I mean, the size of the brain is reduced due to the loss of mass. And this is because of the degeneration of the neurons. So, stem cell therapy can offer the potential cure to the Alzheimer's by regrowing the neurons, right? Blood tissue, as we all know, it has WBCs, RBCs, platelets, and plasma. So blood stem cells generate all these 4 components. That is your blood RBCs, your WBCs, and your fibers, and your matrix. That is the plasma. Plasma cells are also generated from the blood stem cells. Now the blood tissue is found inside the blood vessel, and the blood consists of many components, as all of you know, 55% of which is plasma, 45% are the blood cells, and 99% of this 45% blood cells are the red blood cells, and 1% is white blood cells, leukocytes, and the blood platelets, that is the thrombocytes. So basically, all of you must be knowing the red blood cells carry oxygen in all over the body, right? So which is very important for us to remain alive. So as it's very nicely pictorially displayed over here, the composition of the blood. So as you would be able to see, I'm not going through going in the details, but you know the blood composition. So this, I'm sorry, I'm not able to see this moment. So basically, the hematopoiesis occurs in So hematopoiesis is the production of all types of blood cells, including the formation, development, and differentiation. So we'll be now specifically talking about the blood stem cells. So blood is produced through the hematopoiesis process, and it occurs in the yolk sac, in the liver, and lastly in the bone marrow. And in the normal situation, hematopoiesis occurs in adults in the bone marrow only and the lymphatic tissues. So in the bone marrow, we have a spongy tissue, which is called a bone marrow, wherein this blood stem cells are produced. They regenerate themselves and they differentiate themselves as RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. So hematopoietic stem cells are localized in the medulla of the bone marrow, and they have the unique ability to give rise to all the different mature blood cell types and tissues. And HPCs are, HSCs, that is the hematopoietic stem cells. As I said, they have the ability to regenerate them, and some of their daughter cells remain as the hematopoietic stem cells, and this phenomenon is called as the asymmetric division. And the other daughter cells, some cells will keep regenerating themselves, and the other cells, remaining cells, will be either myeloid or lymphoid progenitor cells, which differentiate, but they cannot then regenerate themselves, and they then differentiate themselves as RBCs, WBCs, or your platelets. So erythroid cells, or all blood cells, are divided into 3 lineages. First is the erythroid cells, that are the oxygen carrying red blood cells, lymphocytes. They are derived from the lymphoid progenitors, and the lymphoid lineage primarily composed of the T cells and the B cells. These are basically we call it as the immune system. And the myelocytes, which include the granulocytes or megakaryocytes and the macrophages, and are derived from the common myeloid progenitors, and they're involved in such diverse role as the immunity, adaptive immunity, and blood clotting. So it's the picture, it is displayed over here pictorially. What do the myeloid progenitor do? They are like either megakaryocytes, erythroblast, and the myeloblast. So megakaryocytes generate, they are the platelets, then erythroblasts, they are the RBCs, and the myeloblasts are then form the various parts of the white blood cells. So formation of the red blood cells, this takes place in the bone marrow under the control of hormone EPO. This hormone is produced in the kidney and responses to the decreased O2 delivery. So people who have this anemic, they are the person who are anemic or hypoxia, they have like the issue of oxygen, decreased oxygen delivery, and this production requires adequate supplies of substrates, mainly iron, vitamin B12, and the folate. And RBCs survive for about 120 days, and then they lose their cell membrane and largely cleared from the circulation by phagocytic cells of the spleen, liver, and bone marrow. So probably you might have heard about the disease thalassemia, which we call as the disease of red blood cells. As you can read here, RBCs can remain alive for 120 days, but for some reason, in thalassemia children, the cells survive only for 25 to 30 days. So in order to, for the survival of those patients, they have to undergo frequent blood transfusions every 25 to 30 days, because otherwise, if no red blood cells are there, no oxygen carrying in the body will be done and survival will be a challenge. Then the formation of platelets. Platelets are produced during hematopoiesis of the common myeloid progenitor cells in the bone marrow, which differentiate from the promegarocytes, promegarocytes, and then into megakaryocytes. And megakaryocytes stay in the bone marrow, and they are thought to produce the protoplatelets within the cytoplasm, which are released in the cytoplasmic extensions upon cytokine stimulus. And the protoplatelets then break up into the hundreds of platelets that circulate through our blood stream. White blood cells, formation. All the white blood cells are produced and derived from the hematopoietic stem cells in the bone marrow, and the leukocytes are found throughout the body, including the blood and the lymphatic system. And all the white blood cells have nuclei, which distinguishes them from the other blood stem cells. Two pairs of major categories, which, hello. Okay, so there are two categories. One, we get the first category is based on structure, that are either granulocytes or agranulocytes, or by cell division lineage into the myeloid side or the lymphoid cells. So the maturation of blood stem cells. A stem cell matures, it undergoes changes in gene expression as we grow from the school to the graduation level. Over here also, as they mature and they undergo gene expression, and these changes can often be tracked by monitoring the presence of proteins on the surface of the cell. And leukocytes are rapidly increasing during the infection, as all of you must have undergone blood tests during some of when you would have infections, and increased number of WBCs or leukocytes indicate the infection, because they are the dead cells in our bloodstream. So leukocytes are rapidly increasing during the infections, and the proliferation and the self-renewal of these cells depend on the growth factors. And one of the key players of self-renewal development, hematopoietic cells factor, or SCF. So here, blood cell maturation process is displayed very nicely in the image, myeloid stem cells, they are like myeloblast. Then they in turn they produce the various white blood cells. Then comes as the immature monocytes. They produce the monocytes. Then we have the megakaryocytes, which in turn generates the platelets. And then we have the pronormoblast, which in turn produces the erythrocytes. And the lymphoid stem cells produce the lymphocytes. So this is the brief introduction about the blood stem cells. With this, today I would like to end the session over here. And if you have any doubts, you can let me know, or you can ask. I hope I would have been able to convey the message, sir.
Yes, students, did anyone have any questions? Any clarifications on stem cells?
Yes, good morning, ma'am. Once again.
Yeah, good morning.
Cells, but from my reading, I recognize that mostly hematopoietic stem cells are the one which are mostly common and talked about. Why haven't we heard more of the neural stem cells? Like, where do they apply? For example, if a person have brain infections, or maybe the cells fail to proliferate.
I think Vamsi sir would be better able to answer this question. My expertise is in the blood stem cell area. So, sir, over to you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Yes, Faith, actually, there are multiple types of stem cells. So you can imagine stem cells like an egg, right? The egg is a very big stem cell. So in the egg, it will, eventually within 21 days, the egg will be converted into a chicken. Chicken has all types of cells, right? Chicken has blood, chicken has neurons, chicken has everything, right? So yes, stem cells will be taking some pathways. Either stem cells will take a pathway to convert into a blood cells, or stem cells will take another lineage to a neuronal cells or gastrointestinal lineage. So in this particular topic, ma'am was focusing on the hematopoietic stem cells. That means the stem cells that are taking pathway to all types of blood cells, that including red blood cells, platelets, and white blood cells, right? So that is what ma'am saying. And your question, I understood, that is neuronal stem cells. So yes, neuronal stem cells, we are also using neuronal stem cells for other areas like Alzheimer's. When a patient has a problem with any neuronal issues, then we can induce some of, actually, I will tell you one interesting thing. There is a lineage of cells that will convert to skin and neurons. That means skin cells and neuron cells are same. There is an approach of converting or reverse engineering a skin cell to neuron, that is called induced pluripotent stem cell. And these induced pluripotent stem cells can be used as a therapy for neuronal issues. So that we will discuss in the further lectures. So these lectures will go up to 4 weeks. Okay, so up to next month ending, we have these lectures, and we will cover all aspects of all these stem cells. So today we respected Anuradha ma'am has focused on blood stem cells, but we will cover other aspects of stem cells also. And I appreciate your curiosity on understanding various aspects of stem cells. That's a good question. Yes, ma'am.
Right. And I would like to add here, Faith, like probably the use of neuron stem cells are still under research. Like there's so many researches are going on. One of the research are like, I'm not, as far as mine, I have a limited knowledge on the treatment of this neurons and all, but still, as far as I know, we are able to use the cells for the Alzheimer's, treating the Alzheimer's disease, and I think still it is in the under clinical trials, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Not
Yeah.
yet.
So yeah, so it is still, we are not using it so widely. So there are many more areas wherein this treatment is yet to be explored. So even like as far as many people ask, like when it comes to blood cancer treatment, then many people ask that preserving umbilical blood cells will be of any help or not. Then again, there are so many limitations. If the patient is a child, then definitely the quantity of the umbilical blood cells will be enough to treat the child. But when the child becomes adult, the quantity of the umbilical blood cells will not be sufficient. Number one. Number two, like if I preserve the umbilical cord cells of my child, I would like, I don't know whether I would like to use it for treatment of other child, because then I may have a doubt that if my child will have a problem, right? So that is another question. So that is another limitation. Likewise, there are so many other limitations, ethical and definitely the scientific studies more. I think more scientific studies and research is required. So I hope we are able to answer your question. We'll still keep discussing all these issues in the coming lectures.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more doubts, students? Ma'am, actually, I have one doubt, ma'am. Myself, I have one doubt. Can you clarify, ma'am? Ma'am, can we use umbilical cord blood stem cells for the purpose of any disease in the body, like a neuronal disease? If I suspect my child has any neuronal disease, can I use cord blood stem cells?
For cerebral palsy, it is under clinical trials. Like I had one case, I had come across a person whose child is suffering from cerebral palsy. So he was doing research, and this was about like 4 years ago. But still, the treatment is not available in India. The clinical trials for the treatment of cerebral palsy is going on outside, like other countries. And like other diseases, I'm not I have heard the cure of blood stem cells in US. There are 4 cases who are cured, these patients are cured using the umbilical blood cells. And for diabetic treatment, yes, definitely they are used widely. For the diabetes in children, they're used widely to replace the insulin pancreas cells. Other diseases, I'm not very sure, but many clinical trials are going on. Yeah.
Thank
But
you so much,
if you
ma'am.
ask me, if you can afford, definitely you must preserve the cells of your child.
Yeah, ma'am. Correct. Absolutely correct, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now I understood that we can use cord stem cells for diabetes treatment. That is really a good insight, ma'am. Even I was new to this one. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's very insightful lecture and it's very interesting. We learned a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, students.
Thank you.
All right. The next session will be at 11 o'clock and it will be taken by myself. So please join by 10:55. Okay, students. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, students. Everyone, can you please fill the attendance sheet that floated in the group? Thank you so much. I'm ending this.